Hi, I am just having technical difficulties. I have way too many tabs open, and I'm like, where is my meeting? All right, there it is. Yay! Oh my gosh, what a day. Ran over to my son's attorney thinking it would take like an hour and a half, and it was like 3 hours later. I'm like, you're not kidding. And then it's traffic, and I'm like, ridiculous.
Yeah,
So
where are you located? I don't even know, I guess.
I'm in Hudson, Wisconsin.
Oh, yeah, I think you may have even told me that. So,
I might have, I
mhm.
don't remember. Let me see if I can
Well,
make
that
this
works. I
big.
have an office day this afternoon, so works just fine.
Awesome. I was like that yesterday. I took a selfish day and just got back on track. So,
Hmm.
welcome, welcome, welcome. Everybody, we have the wonderful Sandy Hansen-Wolff with us today, and she's going to tell us a little bit about her amazing businesses, because she does more than one thing. And I guess I'm just going to kick it off and say welcome. And Sandy, tell us a little bit about your businesses and then why you do what it is that you do, because that's what I always like to know.
Okay, well, first of all, thank you, Sharon, for having me as a part of your programming. It's always an honor to share my story because we all have one. So my story, just to, in a quick recap, I have been with my feed and seed company. So our customers are farmers in general, beef and dairy farmers. So my feed company, Egg Venture, has been in business for over 30 years, and I came in as the sole owner almost 16 years ago when my husband of 1 year passed away from cancer. So he was the owner, and I was his new wife that had very little to do with his business. So when he passed away unexpectedly due to the complications, people were looking to me to find out what's going to happen with Egg Venture. And so, and just to kind of recap, we are located in central Minnesota. So right now we're a regional uh, uh, feed company, actually, and we have a new product line that we're planning to go national with. So that's new and fun.
Very
And
exciting.
so I've been the sole owner of this feed and seed company, which is an agribusiness space, and there's many stories I could tell about my kind of winding and crooked journey of how I got to this got through this last 16 years. So out of that, I developed my speaking, consulting, and coaching business that's branded under my own name, sandyhansenwolf.com. And that happened kind of as a circumstance, I guess, of me, my situation, I guess, as people would call it, or, after my husband passed away and I took over this business unknowingly, I started getting asked to speak. Can you speak through how you got through tragedy? And that started in the spiritual sectors, like churches, Christian events, things like that. And that was pretty much right away, or sometimes cancer events. And I'm always happy to do all of that. And in about 2006, so all of this happened in 2003 when my husband passed away. So in 2006, 2007, when the economy started turning south and we went through that tough time of a poor economy, then I was asked to speak a lot on business turnaround strategy and leading through hard times and turning around a company when there was little resources to do so. And since that time, I've stayed mostly in the leadership, business development, entrepreneurship, kind of the igniting your potential space with speaking, and have since become a coach to entrepreneurs to help them build their companies, and also serve as a facilitator to entrepreneur groups that meet regularly. And I've been doing that for several years as well. So it's kind of a surprising path, one that I could have never, ever thought that would be a part of my life now. So, yeah.
Fascinating. Wow, I bet you do have lots of stories about that challenge, because that's a huge challenge going into a new business and a new industry. I mean, I would imagine you didn't have any like feed business experience prior to that.
No, I didn't. I grew up on a dairy farm in central Minnesota. And, many of our customers' kids now have a real strong interest in what goes on in the farm. I really was not that young person growing up. I was the person that would help in the fields and help with the dairy cows and help with milking. But my main goal was to get done so that I could go out and be with my friends. So I didn't take a heartfelt interest in it at the time. Looking back now, I wish I would have, because, now that my parents are off the farm, we do miss it somewhat, that whole lifestyle. But yes, came into the business very blind. The only thing I really knew about the company was what I tell people is like the dinner conversations that we'd have about how was your day at work. So that was my platform. Gratefully, I had wonderful employees at the time that stuck with us through that hard time, and they were experiencing the loss as I was, of the owner. And we look back now and shake our heads that we even made it. So yeah.
Wow, that's fascinating. I got goosebumps. So sorry if I get goosebumps.
That's okay. Yeah, it's a story I wish I, like when you hear it, you're like, wow, that's my own. It's a story that you usually hear others, and then all of a sudden it happens to you. So
I don't have a great story like that.
That's okay. You don't need that much drama in your life.
Yeah, I've had enough drama in my life. I don't need any more. Wow, that is absolutely fascinating. So tell us a little bit now about the work that you do with groups and speaking and leadership and coaching. I'm super interested in that. So I'm going to ask questions about that.
Oh, sure.
I mean, the feed company, I had an Italian food manufacturing business until a couple of years ago. So I get the whole, jumping in with both feet into an industry that's very different than what you've done in the past. Like my career was corporate America to this Italian food manufacturing business, and then real estate and some other weird things that, yikes, I wish I would have skipped those paths, but that's who we are today.
Yes.
So I am really interested in the work that you're doing with women, with entrepreneurs and business owners and leadership, because I think that our listeners they're all on that path too. They're all on the journey of growing their business or creating the business that they want to support the lifestyle that they want. So leadership and building a team is a really important part of that. And it sounds like you have a lot of experience in that they could learn from. So do you have like a story or an example that would be a good example of just a client that you loved working with, or a situation that you were involved in the feed company where you had to use leadership and teamwork that really made a difference, or something that really made a difference and an impact for you?
Yeah, well, and that's actually a really great question, and obviously can be a very, very long answer. And I'd be happy to answer an email or a call after this, for anyone who wants to talk about their own situation. So I'll just give you a few examples. One is that the first few years that I was, this all of a sudden entrepreneur, where it really wasn't, I decided to stay in the company. So ultimately it was my decision, but it was kind of thrust upon me of it's your responsibility. What are you going to do? I felt very alone and isolated. And, when your company is kind of in a state of flux, you're not quite sure who you can trust. And, we didn't have resources at that time to hire outside counsel or a coach. And quite frankly, I didn't really know what resources were available. And so out of that, I really got passionate about, igniting the fire in other entrepreneurs. And that is, and I love building business, and back then I felt like we had to try to grow our business from a very, very limited budget. And I just love the concept of scrapping an idea from nothing. And I think that's what a lot of entrepreneurs are doing is I don't have a huge marketing budget. I don't have a huge, accounting department or even marketing department to help me out with anything. It's me and maybe a few staff people, and we hope to grow someday. But you're it, and you have a very limited budget. And so, I like to scrap nickels and make them into dollars. That's kind of like my concept. And, when I find entrepreneurs that really are looking to, yes, I have this passion. I've created a platform for doing it. I just need I have this flicker in my, in my gut. Like I just have this intuitive nudge that I can make this work. I just need somebody to hold me accountable and someone who maybe has gone the path before me to help build me up. And so like individually when I coach one-on-one, it's all about making them have, it's not even building their confidence. They already have it. We're just mining out what's already in them and encouraging them to take the next leap. And that goes into my groups too. And a really good example, you asked about examples, is I just led an intensive, multi-day we call it a mastermind program for women entrepreneurs. This particular one was. So we really got to go into a deep dive. And the whole premise of us having this dedicated time together where, we had cleared our schedules for a few days was we're coming in with knowing where our business is now. And then, the homework beforehand was think about where you want your business to be. Like, what is that big dream that you may have put on hold? And by the end of it, we did some intensive work to leave with not only the dream feeling real to them, but with some real action steps. Because a dream just stays a dream until you put some legs behind it. And that's what I think is missing a lot of times is, okay, what top 5 things are we going to take action on now so that we can actually start moving towards that big vision that seems insurmountable or overwhelming. And so there's a flicker burning in all of us. And when you can just ignite that to an inferno, magic starts to happen. And actually just yesterday, I got a recap from the group that attended this particular retreat, and they are still glowing in the I don't know, the afterglow of the retreat. And they've gotten more done this past month than they had I had worked with them for a year as a facilitator of a peer group of entrepreneurs. And they had gotten more done in this last month after a retreat than they had, and then some of them have all year. So and that makes me sing. That's just really neat. So
yeah, isn't it fun when people, you coach them on something and they actually go out and they do what you coach them on and they get success and they get results, and then they're all excited and then they're so surprised that they got results. And I'm like, yeah, you could have done it all along, just if you just do it. And then there's other ones that, no matter what you say and what you do and how you try to get them to do something, they're not moving off that dime. So that's really exciting about the event.
Right.
Did you do that in central Minnesota? Is that where you held that?
This particular one was way up in northern Minnesota, but
okay.
I'm mobile. I go wherever the opportunity is. So yeah.
I have a selfish reason
I really think it's entrepreneurs' time with the economy the way it is. Oh, just to ignite all of us. There's definitely hurdles, but the opportunities are vast for startup companies to become really great, or companies that have been in business for a long time to grow even more.
Absolutely. Okay, here's my selfish reason for asking this question. I am putting together a virtual women's summit right now. And part of why I'm doing a women's summit is because 90% of my current clients are men. My entire career, and I love men, don't get me wrong, but my whole career has been all men. I went to engineering school. There were 4 women in my engineering class when we graduated, 4, and all men. And then I went to corporate America, and it was all men. And then I went, my first job wasn't all men, but my second job, I was the only woman in the company. Me and a secretary with the same name. It was pretty fun. And then my next job, there were a couple women, and the job after that, which I adored, was, again, mostly men. And then when I moved out of corporate America into my own businesses, again, I found myself in industries that were just predominantly male oriented. And like I said, I don't have a problem with that. It's just that I think that we have very different ways of approaching business and life. And that at some point you have to address that and you have to make that important. So I was going to do a summit this year as part of I have a Facebook group and a following and people about growing and supersizing your business. And I thought, no, I'm going to do it just for women because I want to try to get some more women in my world, because I think that we have an unfair advantage over men, and that if we come together, we can exercise that advantage. And it's not like it's a competition thing. That's one thing I think, that we approach competition so differently than men do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yes, I absolutely agree with everything you just said, and for your reasonings to do so. And interestingly, I echo the same thing out of my own mouth. Those words come, like, I love men.
Mm-hmm.
Most of my employees in my agribusiness company are men, and they do great work. And some of my passion lies in women's groups, and I mean, even with how, and that is no discredit to men at all. I actually think on a human field, we're all even.
Mm-hmm.
If you look universally and take all the differences away from us, we're all on the same playing field. And, the co-creative power that women have when they come together is magical. And so if there's anything I can do to participate in this, I am happy to do so.
Yes, that was my next question. Would you like to participate in that? Because I'd like to bring in people that have different types of businesses, and I don't know anybody else who's got a feed business or an agribusiness.
Yeah.
I think that would be such an incredible, valuable mix to it. I would love for you to participate.
Yes, and if I can, I'll tell you when I speak, like when I do keynote speeches, I'll tell you one of my top categories now, and actually when I work in facilitation and one-on-one coaching too, is pricing and negotiation skills for entrepreneurs and leaders.
Nice.
It's something that we have and I'm not going to say that I have reached the epiphany of being the best negotiator, pricing expert around, but wow, what money are we leaving on the table because we're being too nice in a deal, or we're discounting when we don't have to. It goes on and on. Or what would happen if you upped your prices by 1% to 2%? Would customers even notice? And so getting over a lot of the old trip ups of why we think we have to discount ourselves so much. And and that happens quite a bit. Like when, for coaching, for example, are you worth $50 or are you worth $500? That's a big difference. And it all starts with the mindset of that. So
that would be an awesome topic for people, because I know that is a huge topic for most of the people I work with and coach. I'm like, you guys, you're selling a transformation, and what's the value of that transformation? Not what do you think you can get per hour. It's a totally different mindset. That would be a wonderful addition to the summit.
Awesome. I think it's a great idea. So go for it.
I am going for it. I've never done I've been on a lot of summits and I've been interviewed on summits, but I've never actually done one and been the facilitator. But I'm pretty confident I can pull it off.
Oh, I'm sure. And I'm always happy to participate in that. That's my total goal, is if I share my story and what I learned the hard way, hopefully it makes it easier for someone else.
Absolutely.
And that makes that is my passion, is igniting the fire, and others ignites my own fire. So
absolutely. That's kind of our selfish way of, that's why I help other people in their businesses and coach them, is because it actually makes me feel good. And I don't know, there's this whole circle of energy that goes out, and what you put out is what you get back. What you give out in the universe is what you get back. And so I think that's the most fun part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So how can people get in touch with you? How can they find you to experience what it is that you have to offer? Are you doing any more entrepreneurial groups or group retreats or year-long things that people could take advantage of?
Yeah, right now I don't have any of my own personal offerings. I'm always happy to do that for any individual or group that wants to do that. I have done that in the past. It's not on my radar screen for the next few quarters of my life. But what I can say is that I have a website. It's www.sandyhansen-wolff.com. And my email address is sandy@sandyhansen-wolff.com. And I'm happy to chat on the phone, or, do a Skype visit, or, and my goal is always to create a unique experience for whomever is hiring me. It's never the same canned presentation or canned speech wherever I go, which is more work for me, but I want the outcomes of what that particular interest is to be met. And that sometimes isn't mastered well in a canned presentation. But I've traveled out of the U.S. to speak, and I've traveled to Vegas and other states, and I'm happy to do things locally. There's plenty of opportunity here, and also abroad. That would be fun to do to even like for yourself, Sharon, to consider a Sedona retreat adventure or something like that. Some of those
I'm all over that.
Are so fun. Yeah.
This is Wisconsin. We got our winter coming up. Wisconsin and Minnesota. You know it's coming. It's rainy and icky here, so I don't know what it's like in central Minnesota, but we've already had snow. Have you had snow yet?
I think we may have had a dusting. I was actually out of state at the time, so.
Okay. Well, we've had snow in Hudson, so it's coming. I know it's coming. But it's really funny as I started to put feelers out about this women's summit. Number one, the scope of it like exploded, because I was thinking established business women was who I was going to target. And all of a sudden I asked the question and they're like, oh no, it has to be both, existing business owners, but also people that are just getting started, because they can, existing business owners can encourage those that are starting out.
Yes. Well, I'm happy to collaborate on whatever your dreams might be, where I might match, Sharon. Awesome. We have plenty of work to do, and plenty for all of us. So collaborating is the key.
Exactly. And that's what I like about women. I think women are all about collaboration. And I was writing and thinking about this today, but it seems like men are more competitive and women are more collaborative. And I think that gives us an unfair advantage, because when we do pull together and work together, we can just accomplish so much more. And I think entrepreneurs are going to change the world. I mean, politicians certainly aren't going to do it. The government's not going to change the world for us. It's up to entrepreneurs and business owners. Yeah. So,
and that's, generally it is the business, entrepreneurs that get us out of a recession, and, and that doesn't make anyone better or worse. It's just, when tough times hit, entrepreneurs get busy. So as does everybody else. So, yeah.
Well, not necessarily though. I think when bad times hit, entrepreneurs get busy, but everybody else kind of hunkers down and watches and waits for things to happen. And if it weren't for the entrepreneurs pulling people out of it and pulling us out of it, I think that recessions and things would last a whole lot longer. I mean, I think people think it's government programs that fix things, but not so much.
Right.
At least not in
and that is true. Entrepreneurship is a different breed. We have to be okay with being, called weird or different or crazy. But that's how ideas become successful, profitable ventures eventually.
Absolutely. Well, Sandy, I so appreciate you taking time with us this afternoon. And we're going to be chatting again.
Okay. I'm ready whenever you are.
I'm excited to know that you did that event. Awesome. I'm super excited to have you as part of that group. I've got some stuff I'll send you out about it. We're actually working on it, and I haven't even invited anybody yet to be speakers. I'm still in the formulating ideas, but it's coming up on time because I'd like to get it done this year still.
Yes.
Because it's a virtual summit, and it sounds like people want more than just a virtual summit. They want events, and I'm all for that, because I love to travel and get out.
I've done many of them, so happy to help, happy to co-create something larger together.
That is fantastic. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. You have an incredible day, and we will be chatting soon.
I appreciate the opportunity to chat.
I appreciate you sharing your amazing story with us, and we'll look forward to learning more.
Okay. All right. Chat soon. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.